it's 3 o'clock. We're going to get started. You guys ready? We have Nathan Spoon as our feature today. And I need everyone, if you'll listen for just a minute, I need everyone to limit your work to one poem per person, because we have to stop at 4. We've only got an hour, and it could really get so. But Nathan has 15 minutes, so that he special has 15 minutes. So now I've got 2 poems. Does anybody else want to sign up? Anybody else want to sign up? We're cool. Okay. I've got 2 poems. One is a bit sad, and the other one is inspiring. Would you rather hear the inspiring or the sad poem first? There you go. Okay. Oh, and also these are free. They're up at the front. They're equality signs. They're right on your car. They're free. This one's called Neighbors. I believe in America, an America full of neighbors, learning how to live, loving their children and families, just like everyone else. I believe in Main Street, a street we create in community, with greenery and trees lining the streets, fun colors, and accessible to all walkers and bikers, where small businesses thrive along big ones, the funk included along with the pristine, neighbors who care about their families and a circle of friends, and beyond that to hoping nothing bad happens in the world. These concentric circles of loved ones, like droplets of rain on a still and lush green pond, that overlap in time with all the rain, all the tears of everyday life. We are affected when people are hurt in Peru, in Afghanistan. We can't help caring. It's human nature. When people are hurt in America, we care. When someone on our street is hurt, it hurts us too. So close to home the world is. America, we are never alone in this world of blurred lines, boundaries, territory. People care if we are hurt, just like neighbors. Just like news travels around the world now, we are connected. It's a lifeline going through us all. Neighbors on the planet. Yo. Thank you. And like I said, if you can limit to 1 poem per person today, except for Nathan. He has 15 minutes. So the first person is Robert Stone.
I always say I write poems that are reflections on things that are happening, and today's poem I wrote today, and it is a sonnet on the closing of Flatrock Coffee, Tea, and More establishment. It seems when things are much the way we want, some unexpected change it disturbs our sails and loosens all the certainties once taught that kept our voyage steady without fails. Attacks that are not personal sting most, for explanations bandage intellect and give us underpinnings so to boast that our response will rise above the wrecked. Another's vision kindles our despair, demanding quickly quenching spreading fire, and watching long for sparks once more to flare that would burn through desires that we admire. We must believe and trust in untried ways that lead us in, then out of living maze. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. That was beautiful. Love your imagery. Next, we have D.W. Lee. Sorry, I couldn't read that. Yay!
Yay! Anyway, short. I knew a piece I usually end with. If I can remember it all, I'll try to remember it. Autumn's anguish to again dial over, stretching out exhausted, slumped into the back seat, nervous about stained dirt. There was a smell of it, catching us on every step. So we took them 2 at a time, enough time of friends coloring the walls with childish exaggeration. So blessed were we that we hung out solemnly, mad at what we regularly were, stupid enough to believe that you were going to be a dancer and a singer too if they would listen. That they already had. All the words, all the moves, study, I said, you grinned. It didn't make any difference. This indifference to my old man, your old man, all the old man's words decayed to they didn't make it, but we made it. On a mud trampled for you, naked and straining before the collapse of the sun. In one melting arch, the world was stuck young, stubborn and laughing. Our will was creation being done. They say you died in the fall, slow, startling start. They say you had a baby and Peaches cried that I should be. They say you had a baby and in Peaches cried that I should share the pain. They say you were a dancer in Chattanooga, but didn't like the weather, whether or not they ever listened to what you say, aged beneath the canceled outlines of an orange autumn calendar. Thank you.
That was so powerful, so moving. Thank you. Now we have Serge Ray Rodriguez.
Sorry, he spent a nice time kind of putting that together, and I'm like, sorry. I'll put it back kind of the way it was. All right. My name is Serge Ray Rodrigo. However, my birth certificate says Sergio Raymond Rodriguez. Apparently, that can be hard to pronounce, even though, Surgicola was a thing like, 25 years ago, 30 years ago? So I took the name Serge. I have another pen name called Serena Lucio. And that is my alternate pen name, which I wrote Silverwater. You can find that on Amazon. Oh, hand me that root beer over there. That is warm. No, nobody did anything to that, right? When I put it down and say, hey, come here, take it to the bathroom real quick. No. All right. A little bit more shameless plugging. I only have a half page, so I'll be quick. I am going to be the featured poet at Poetry at the Brew next month with Christine Hall sitting all the way over there with the hat thing on, talking to her boy. And I will be the main event that time. It's at Portland Brew. It's that brewer, coffee house shop that wants to look like it's Portland or something. I've never been to Portland, but apparently it's a bad ripoff. But it's a cool spot, so I will be there. Po' Boys and Poets will be there. We have any Po' Boys here? Make noise? No? No Po' Boys. Okay, Po' Boys and Poets will be there along with IMGA Media Group and hopefully WVL Radio. Look for it. I will post a link on the Flatrock Poetry page, alright? This one I wrote is the first thing I ever wrote after I got sober, which is 20 days now. First step still, but it is 20 days nonetheless. Thank you. I hope we clap this way at my graduation. That'd be incredible. It's like, oh man, he made it. I can't believe he's alive. All right. It's called Our Future Great. Don't come from above or below, nor does it respond when we shove. It doesn't shove back. It just walks away and lets karma decide what's great. Our future great, it spends a few years in China. Kind of nice when we become sober for the rest of our life. Until a knife in Mexico threatens us breath. We move to Puerto Rico for a Cinco de Mayo misconception. Then England shows us the contraception of leaving so many behind. So many like our future great Hamlet, written on a tablet at McDonald's. But our play merges with the Hamburglar. Hamburglet, that's our future great prince and thief. How about the Hamlet burglar? Alas, poor Ronald, I knew him, grimace. Now that sounds like our future great plan, the kind of plan that ends with sucking cocaine out of our secretary. Our future great writing career, it's Pulitzer Prize winning, New York Times best-selling, until our future great for those, our future great school, for those who are at risk of having no future at all. Now that's sweet. Sweet Hamburglet died for that. But our future great love, that has to be more than sucking butt cocaine or checkmate marriage or aborted baby carriage. That has to be more than building a gingerbread house and even more than love from Mickey Mouse. Our future great love has to expand our soul. Our future great soul has to dwell in one body. The kind of body that speaks to their soulmate's body thousands of miles all the way in the future. And our future great psychologists understand all that enough to just leave it alone. Our future great. Is it so great? Drinking a 40 ounce every day, smoking a joint every now and then, while making $4 off self-published work until we die of heart failure, or cancer, or diabetes, or murder. But our future isn't so great if we only love to be alone. Our future won't make us walk and smile and twist our hands like adult babies. It's weird, Google that. Our teeth parted while eyes blink. It won't make sex with white virgins who see holes in Christianity seem like the end-all, end-all. Our future great will be greater than our past, like it don't come from above or below. Thank you.
That was awesome and so funny. Thank you. And now we have Kat Marsh. She was our feature last February. Yeah. Awesome. Thank
Hello, humans. I will be performing with some others at National Animal Rights Day. I keep saying Animal Arts, like we're having a bunch of vets painting. But I'll be at the National Animal Rights Festival that's going to be at Centennial Park on June 2nd. I hope to see you there. And I'm thankful for Flatrock and Amy and everyone, because y'all have all spread love and kindness and emotion that we all need to hear. So this is my farewell poem. Or sort of, it's actually titled See You Later. They were here, but now they're gone. Scratch that. Their wisdom was seen and heard here, but now they're on to new adventures and spread songs. They were too bright to shine in one's face. Their gifts and glory cause all to whisper and celebrate. On to a new place to sow many seeds, to embrace new lands and grow new reeds. Their words will combine and connect many worlds. Who would have thunk it? Their reach to be made and all to unfurl. Through dawn and dusk with settling dew, greatness was at work and their dreams will come true. More dreams to come, unyielding to pauper's crown, even with rumbles that test foundation. This see you later is just for now. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Kat. That was brilliant and beautiful and powerful. I appreciate that. Now we have Laura LaPrade. Did I get that right? Yay.
Hi, I'm new here, so I'm really nervous. So just bear with me if I get a little shaky. This one's called My Brother, A Fish Story. The smooth rotation of the spin surprised me, the ease with which he drew me in, despite our history. Each time I took the bait, feeding on every morsel of hope like it was like my last meal. Each time I denied it. That sly glimmer of line until the sharp tug ripped me up and out. Flesh and blood exposed, I learned to tame the gasping gills and starboard thrash that gave my pain away. He tells me it's worth something. I glide my thumb over the dull brass curve of the barrel, aged to patina by hands that knew an honest day's work. The weight is substantial. He's probably already done the math, calculated the conversion of birthright into booze down to the last penny. I pushed the handle forward, mindlessly reversing the reel. Which one of us was it? Whose quick flick of the wrist, slight lift of finger cast the line, while the rest of us stood, backs toward deep, arms stretched wide, boldly proclaiming the measure of our love. Thank you.
Thank you. That was beautiful and powerful. You did great. Now we have Nancy Posey. Yay.
I managed to be the right height. And I do want to invite you. Black Dog Bookstore is hosting Black Dog Poetry on the second Tuesday of every month. The next one will be on the 11th. So sign up at 6:30, and we may have music this month during sign up. So we'd love to have you. I've taught a lot of years in college, and probably I learn as much from my students as they do from me sometimes. Particularly because we have veterans on campus, and that an experience with a veteran inspired this poem. The name of it is On the Other Hand. sometimes too lazy to applaud, frustrated when my hands are full, embarrassed by my penmanship, relying on the other hand, sinister, when suffering a sprain. I must admit that I do forget the blessings of the pair, not quite a match set, but working in tandem, unparalleled. There's no redundancy in right and left. One alone may work quite well for the casual wave, but stranded on a desert isle, I'd put the both to use, frantically flagging search planes circling overhead, or ships sailing suddenly into sight. Even with two, threading a needle, braiding hair, hyping a paper, proves a challenge. I sometimes borrow someone else's finger to hold a knot in place. Today, as I rush for the elevator, the arm thrust out to stop the door surprises me. The hand stretched toward me, prosthetic, belongs to a young man. Seeing the surprise on my face, he reveals with a bittersweet hint of pride, the hand's brand new. And though surely he prefers the one he left behind somewhere along an Afghanistan roadside, this new bionic one he demonstrates, unfurling a fist, he values in ways he never did the pair he had before. Going up, he asks me, pushing the button for third.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful. Now we got Christine Hall.
Thank you, Amy, the Flatrock folks. This is the loveliest face. All right, y'all. Liliest. Mother, throw me on the back of your bike again. Lay me down in the flowers for a rest. Let the tiger lilies tickle my eyelash web threads, strings of perception pendling out into etheric shoots of light-soaked resplendence. Let me daydream about water, the bath from which you birthed me. The balloon burst and gushing, the banded socks high on your calves, your thighs bloodied and triumphant, bowing. Let us sing about swimming, about drinking from the fountain, about everything that can be made into a song. The mulberries are ripe, and the ducklings wandering. Lay me down again, and let me wake upon your gaze. Let the water not stain us. Let our eyelashes cast each their lines, and meet midair, mingling in star lilies.
Okay. Now we have Drake Moreno. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Drake Moreno, and it's quite a treat to be doing this and seeing you all here on the very last of these here at Flatrock Cafe. A little bit of sadness there, isn't there? Well, this is I have three versions of this one. This is the medium length one, and it's called Adios Papa, which means goodbye, Dad, if you will. You are a high-functioning alcoholic atheist who smoked like a chimney and dedicated serious time to playing card games. I certainly appreciated your generosity with the booze in your liquor cabinet. You always kept your drink handy, and you offered me as much as I wanted of anything I cared to try, from martinis to top-notch scotch. Yet never once, Papa, did I ever see you indisputably drunk. The only other serious drinking men I knew were from my mother's side of the family, and they were shit-faced every time I saw them. I treasure the memory of your dear Spanish friend, Rafael Alfao. He was a kindly, eloquent, and fascinating man who had fought on the Republican side against fascist General Franco's forces. It was a period of most brutal warfare, laden with atrocities. Rafael managed to flee Spain before escape became impossible. he never returned. Papa, I'm forever grateful that you took me to visit him on his deathbed. I loved him too, and his passing prepared me for what was to come. By the time metastatic cancer was discovered in your brain, it was too advanced to hope for any successful treatment. When you were clearly approaching death's door, family members were gathered in your home, taking shifts at your bedside. You had been unable to speak for some time, and I didn't know if you would be able to hear me, but I intended to speak with you privately. I envisioned myself closing your bedroom door and holding you, assuring you of my eternal love for you and for your daughter. I would offer my blessings and words of comfort before your spirit began the next stage of its journey. Damn it, Papa! What the hell kind of medicine did they think you needed from the corner pharmacy? When I returned, you had gone. Sobbing uncontrollably, I clung to your lifeless hand, kissing the beloved face and neck of your corpse. Today, your genetic heritage survives in your 4 children, and in their children, and in your great-grandchildren. It survives in our beloved daughter's remarkably gifted and talented kindergartner, Ryman. It survives in her 6-month-old son, whose given name is your surname. That's right, Papa. McRae is his name. He's a big, strong boy, and he's going to be tall, just like you. But for me, Papa, heritage is much more than a matter of DNA and biology. You live on in my heart, in my values, and in my fondest memories. Adios, Papa. Yes? Papa? Yes, Papa, but I can barely hear you. Yes, my guitar's right here. Of course I remember the words to La Llorona. Shall I sing it for you now? Papa? Are you there? Papa? Papa? I haven't forgotten that you are an atheist, Papa. But surely I'll hear no lawyerly legal objection as I lovingly whisper these words. Vaya con Dios. Go with God, Papa.
That was so moving, Drake. Thank you for your story and sharing that. Now we have Breton Phillips.
This is Remembering Memorial Day, a poem written and read by Robert Breton Phillips at Flatrock, Coffee, Tea, and More, Saturday, May 25th, 2019. Going, no matter where, intimacy indefinitely protects us. A friend lays down his life because of friends, fed by life's rivers, flowing up from the heart, remembering the tears downpour. These waterfalls to the swelling sea of gratitude. Metaphors teaching our imperfect lives will leave affection for generations more. Whether sailing through water, lands, or skies, good disinfects, doubts decay. Life's river current shocks, doubts, fears away. May those who remain continue to remember the waterfalls, because choosing to be requires the courage to be a friend.
Thank you, Bretton. It's very inspiring. Now we have Henry Jones, who is our feature last month.
How you doing? All right, 2 quick announcements. I'm a visual artist also. June the 7th, I'm in a show called Interactive at the Centennial Arts Center. And I just found out this morning that the Tennessee Tribune gave us a little publicity, so picked up a copy. I was excited about that. And then June the 28th, I'm one of the features at Lyrical Brew. I guess I need to know how to say the word. At Barnes & Noble Vanderbilt. So I'd love for you to come out for a little visual art or a little poetry, either one. I'm going to miss this place. Because first time I walked in, I loved the old industrial vibe and everything. And this poem, The Garden, is dedication to the end of Flatrock. I'm going to miss the coffee. I'm a coffee lover. So, The Garden. This garden hidden within urban fields of concrete, steel, and history, where signs echo sending message back through time, we've walked along this road now turned into a stream, lined with flat rocks and sunshine gleaming through grass. We come here to play, hidden but seen, creaking along the stones where words of shared stories are etched on the plainer surfaces of many days. Our wet feet leave impressions which glistens along the previous steps, and we remember. And many days we walked through here, the clouds revealed their tears sometimes, but still we came regardless of the weather, and we played. Running through the grass, crushing blades along the way, forming a path. When we looked behind us, when you look behind us, when you look behind, you will see and remember the many feet and voices of poets who left their words. So many words. When I was writing this, one thing I realized, I have to stop. The reason I love sharing poetry is because I feel this kinship with a lot of poets. And there was another open mic place that closed, Writings on the Wall. And I realized the closeness. I don't want this place to close, but economics are involved. And I foresee the poets here. You are an extended family. And just like when we were children on a playground, back in the day where you can leave house after doing your chores and stay out to the street lights. But we came here to play and share our stories and memories and exchange candy and all that. I love you all. We each have our own stories, our own memories, our own words. And we can't let poetry die. I know everyone here is not going to stop writing, so that's not going to happen, right? When you look behind, you will see and remember the many feet and voices of poets who left their words to swim within this stream, lined with the beautiful flat rocks of this garden, awaiting until the next playground to be found. Thank you.
It's so beautiful and so moving, and I think we all feel the loss. I know I did speak with Karen. They're looking at a brand new facility. It may be a little time, but I'm in, okay? But in the meantime, I've got a 3-month trial with Bongo After Hours, which is a theater over Bongo Java, and it's on Belmont. And that's June 22nd with Cynthia Ring as the feature poet, and we're there for 3 months. So, but I do have to charge a $5 cover charge to make rent. So that's a big change, and I don't like doing that, but I have to do that. So stay tuned. And I've also got some cards and anthologies up here. If you want my card, I'll always have on my website the most recent information of whatever's going on with this grouping of people that will call something else. Okay, now we have our feature, He's a dear friend. I've known him since at least 2001. He and his wife Jamie, they lived upstairs from me. We shared a house, and that's where I met him, and he actually helped me get a show in Amsterdam through a friend of his. So just going back, way back. He's very well published, very well regarded as the editor of X Perry, and like I said, he's a dear friend, so please welcome the brilliant Nathan Spoon.
Thank you, Amy. Just to have the unusual experience of reading here for the first time, the last time this reading occurs, at least in this iteration, this location. But I often find myself in the most peculiar circumstances, so story of my life. So this, okay, 8 poems to read. They're all short. Most of them are just 14 lines. And this first one is in the most recent issue of Mantis, which is the Stanford University Poetry Journal, in a section on poetry and protest. It's called Rolling with the Schadenfreude. And to Henry's remarks about playing, I hope that you'll take these poems as play. I'll say no more. Rolling with the Schadenfreude. Thank you for throwing your big goofy cat in my lap, and regardless how small the scale, for being the disaster gargoyle you are. Without would vanish from space at random, and one of them would eventually be our son. Thank you for scrunching up your shoulders over the duress of others, and for admitting you want to see them hurt. The hurt of others will make your world more bearable, especially if those others are vulnerable to any onslaught you stir. In forests of post-apocalyptic tribulation, where frogs croak out songs suddenly from branches, rain silences the glory of wings. Tonight you will fail to fall into the hell you deserve to fall into due to the size of sandhill cranes. These cranes will pluck out your eyes. After writing that and then having it appear in the journal, I was looking back over it and thinking, that's kind of a first one. I don't think that I've ever written a poem like that before. So this poem was inspired by a post that another poet named Danielle Pafanda she had done a status update on Facebook and just said that she had a dream in which angels and frogs were speaking. So I thought that last part sounds like the title of a poem. So this is The Angels and Frogs Are Speaking for Danielle Pafanda. The way out of this dream is through a document, more specifically, a .docs file. We are all sitting together under terrible fluorescent lighting and overhearing the noise of too many machines. Someday, spelling mistakes will fix how messed up the world is. Until then, it feels nice wearing a cap to help block out the garishness, and headphones to cancel the howl of, wait, now a woman is saying nobody is going to marry Ken. Why is she saying it like this? Why am I overhearing this in particular? In ancient times, nobody spoke about Barbie and Ken. They hadn't been invented yet. no matter. If any one of us can dream any moment angels and frogs are speaking, it ought to be okay for a file to triplicate a rabbit. Also, it's okay to laugh. Anything sounds remotely funny. So this one was, both of these were in a journal, the latest issue of the journal called The Scores, which is based out of St. Andrews University, which is in Scotland. It's the third oldest university in Scotland, and ranks right next to the other two old universities, Oxford and Cambridge, in terms of excellence. So this one was also in their literary journal, The Scores, and this is called The Day After. There is a lot of presentism to the handle of a butter knife. It is the main reason I keep half expecting Mary Ann, hair piled atop her head, to make a comeback. One day, I walked alone along a shore until there was no more left, but nobody can say they are together still. Honestly, this current murmuration has split and converged so many times, I no longer know the history, except to say that, like every other history, it is all too much. What I am doing is looking out a window. I am also feeling the sentience in the back of everyone else's throat before feeling it in the back of my own. The dead, like the eels they often are, really need to learn how to scroll better. And this one is called Sonnet, and I just found out yesterday it, along with one other poem, will be in an upcoming issue of the South Carolina Review, which is was started at Furman University, and then not long after moved to Clemson University. So I've had writing published in England and Scotland and Ireland and Wales and all around the U.S., but this is my first acceptance in the South. So I'm pretty excited about it. Sonnet. If I say I am an American, it will suddenly be clear I do not know what grain I am working against. What begins underneath the other side as folly, almost, is news, almost, as what we already know, or should know, dances in the headlines before us. Anybody looking for an antidote can dote on the old barns dotting the landscape so profusely. Anybody looking for a properly licensed technician will want to dip a toe into crystal creeks. We are busy turning the words we hear nearly as hairy as sumac, and who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want the commingled juices of our anthems blowing through their valves like wild lights that are shining from selectively crepuscular stars? And within the last week or so, I got in the mail I'll read it out in the magazine. The latest issue of Harvard Divinity Bulletin, and I have a couple poems in here. This particular issue has 3 poems in it. So there's one by another writer. So this first poem It's called Sacrum Convivium. And there was also mention of nervousness earlier, so no matter how many times I read, sometimes I'm just overwhelmed by nervousness, and it may be, I realize at this point, it may be due to just I'm a very sensory sensitive person, and I'm on the autism spectrum, so a lot of it may just be that. So Sacrum Convivium. As if a cloud and the body neurology of a starfish combined, as if the person walking toward us like a friend were a friend, as if the goddess of anarchy rose and drifted, never leaving her place because she held no place, as if that eternal classic of a trope of looking for the flaw in any sort of awful logic were sufficient to instantly banish it from this collection of ours, as if anarchy were feasible, as if anarchy were infeasible, as if tears could prevent bad people from scrunching their shoulders with glee while doing bad things, while the sun shines on delicious leaves of grass, as if another breath was all that is needed to round out our world again, as if there is a courtyard beyond the window behind our good backs, as if our lives mean nothing more than what they seem to mean as we strike the poses we hope will shimmer eternally. So I've got two more poems to read. This one's also in the bulletin. And I spent part of my early childhood in very, very rural Pennsylvania, not far from the stretch of the Susquehanna River. So this one is called Susquehanna by Moonlight. And there's a line at the beginning from Guillaume Apollinaire. All the lovers a single chain has joined together. Tiny feathers are drifting through air, shared by opposing reinforcements, cluttering heads. Before lowering your platform helmet, consider what your breath and blood are doing out beyond the edge of these woods. Consider how coyotes are calling, each to each, at acceptable distances from where you are. When it is night, you will be sleeping with your bedroom window open. In your dreams, coyotes will walk calmly past your unlit window. In your dreams, you will feel their fur softly inside the ventricles of your soul. Their fur will be a willow stick shoved in earth merely to mark a spot, until, to the surprise of all, that stick, sprig by leaf by sprig by leaf, becomes a mature willow. The leaves of your dreams will droop and mingle with the leaves of ordinary grass. These leaves will be the living eyes and ears when you wake. And this last one is slated to be in the little anthology that Amy is putting together for this reading series, contributions from the feature readers for the series. And I sent 3, and I think that they were accepted. It didn't say these are accepted. I think the email said these poems are so interesting. So I've got the kind of brain where if it doesn't say it specifically, then I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, so this poem is called The Orchids. And see if you can guess where I was sitting when I wrote this. The orchids. From a corner, eyes are looking out over tables and chairs, out across a tile floor, out at pots resting on a series of low pedestals, out at the leaves, stems, and flowers of orchids. But this is no way to begin, even as it is, thinking of what an idea means. What does an idea like, say, freedom mean? Once a galaxy slid into the palm of my hand. Looking, I thought about how much it resembled a flower, and when I woke, I realized it was a flower. Could it be freedom is like waking with a flower in hand and wondering who placed it so carefully there? Could it be the open bloom of an orchid, even to waking eyes, is a dream galaxy of its own making? I don't know, gazing into my own coraled palm, what freedom is, any more than the next pot does, in the stark configuration of a human row. So, any guesses? It does have the dream element. Yeah. So, I was sitting at a Target Starbucks and looking at orchids on a display. So that's what started all of that. And then I had in my mind the theme for this anthology of poems is freedom, and the deadline was coming up, and I'm sitting at Starbucks and thinking about freedom, and like I need to write something. So that's it. It's been a pleasure to read, and thank you all so much.
Thank you, Nathan. That was brilliant, exquisite, well crafted, and interesting. Karen? Karen? And now Karen, the co-owner of Flatrock Coffee, Tea, and More, is going to say some words, and we'll close it out. But don't let go of the group. We're going to be at Bongo after hours, so I'll talk to you a little bit more.
I want to thank all of you for coming. It's been a real honor to have all this beautiful poetry go on. And hopefully when we reopen somewhere and land somewhere in the neighborhood, we will have special space for everyone to feel comfortable and really feel good about doing poetry. And we can have big crowds. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. And hopefully within the next year or so, we will have another space. So follow us on Facebook and Instagram and our website, and we'll post regularly on our progress. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karen and Steve, for all your hard work over the past 5 years. Oh. Thank you.
It's been wonderful.
I appreciate it. Do we have time for one more poem? My poem. This is the sad one. My poem. Aw. Sorry about the delay. This came from my neighborhood, just kind of watching what was happening one day, and I think we can all see that there's a land grab going on around our country, and it's very upsetting. It's happening everywhere, so this is about that. The grand trees and affordable housing. The buzzing sound starts across the street. They're killing more trees again today, making way for new housing. Let's hope it's affordable. First they climb the grand old tree. God, how it saddened me to see them go, any of them. I'm not sure how many they're going to take ultimately. Are they going to cut down all of our grand trees? They start with taking the limbs off, climbing the tree like monkeys in their orange jumpsuits, as if they were doing something nice or clever. The orange means danger and watch out, I might die doing this horrible thing to this poor tree, but it's my job, okay? Then they start the very hard part of felling the tree, sawing the trunk at its decent growing base all that time, knowing nothing else up until then. There is no counseling for the tree. No one talks to it, telling it why. There are no tree huggers around, no doubt, for I am painting wildlife oaks inside, on the verge of crying. With a horrible cracking fall, the tree near Liz's house. I run to the window to make sure, and it's a sorry, sad thing they've done. And it shows. Like taking a building down, but worse, unnatural, like it wasn't supposed to be. Right now there is a line of grand trees that graces us there behind Miss Liz's and Miss Donna's house. What will be there? What will be left of the trees there soon? I can hardly bear to see. I can only hope, as I said, it is in the name of affordable housing. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Karen and Steve, for having us here since July 2017. And sometime this summer, we are going to release the feature poet anthology for this year, and it's called Freedom Papers, and we have a ton of great poetry in there about freedom, which is very timely, so stay tuned. And thank you all so much. Can we have a group picture of all of the poets for today? And Karen. Thank you.